Alright guys, so in this video I'm going to be detailing exactly how to figure out when your walk-on tryout date is. And this is going to include contacting coaches so that you get the exact date and you can be fully prepared when that time finally comes. Okay, so the very first thing I want to talk about is reaching out to coaches and trying to figure out when the tryout date is through the coaches that work for the university. So what you guys are going to want to do starting out is you're going to, whatever college you go to, you're going to want to Google. For me, it would be Ohio State Athletic Staff Directory. You always want to look up the Athletic Staff Directory and then scroll down and find the section labeled football. And within the football section, you're going to find a whole bunch of different titles. This is going to be where the coaches are, where the assistant coaches are, and a bunch of different stuff that you don't really need to worry about right now. My best advice would be reaching out to anybody with a title of player personnel. So if you see director of player personnel or assistant director of player personnel or anybody with director of high school relations, anybody with walk-on in the title. So sometimes specific colleges will have walk-on coordinators. Those are great people to reach out to. Anybody that you guys find that's player personnel, walk-on related, recruitment related, or high school relations related. Those are going to be the people that you're going to want to email first. And what you're going to want to say in an email to these people is going to be very short and concise. So what I would say is I would include a subject line. Say, question about walk-on tryouts. Then in your email, guys, you're going to want to keep this short. Like I said, they get tons of these emails. They get tons of people sending them film, asking to get on the team. A bunch of people who aren't serious or aren't good athletes are bombarding these people with emails. So you don't want to come off as annoying or a junk email or totally not serious. So the best way to do that is to keep things concise. Maybe give a tiny bit of background on who you are and why you're interested in the program. I'm talking like 1 to 2 sentences. Tell them a little bit about your football background and then say, when is the next walk-on tryout date? And then is there anything I need to know or be prepared for at this tryout date that's gonna prohibit me from making the team? So sometimes coaches will require you to schedule your classes at certain times so that you can make practice if you hypothetically make the team. Or sometimes they require certain GPA requirements. For us at Ohio State, it was you had to be above a 3.0 GPA. And then other times they'll require certain NCAA eligibility requirements, but most times they'll just give you a tryout date and then they'll give you a date where you go to basically a quick meeting before you have the tryout. So for Ohio State, we went and then you sign up to try out and they give you all the rules and regulations at this sign up. And they do a quick 15-minute meeting telling you basically what's going to happen at the tryout. Then you go home and you come back the next day and try out. Now guys, another important thing to note is a lot of times these people that are on the athletic staff directory, especially at high-profile schools like Ohio State or Division I schools, sometimes they're not going to get back to you. I know for us personally, when I reached out, I sent film and stuff, and it did no help for me at all. It probably actually hurt me because they get so many emails like that and it's annoying to them. But the guy actually did reply to me and he told me when a walk-on tryout date was, and that's all I needed to know. Basically all the other information came later on. So if you just get the tryout date, you're pretty much set and ready to go. That's the goal here. So I would say unless your film's really good and they ask for it specifically, then I would send it to them. But you don't need to be sending film to people right away on the first email, especially when you're just trying to figure out a tryout date. Guys, the recruitment process for you is most likely over if you're trying to walk on, so you can kind of lose the hopes of just randomly getting recruited, and now you're in the walk-on boat, so you need to make it to that tryout, and you need to show out at the tryout. The last thing I was going to recommend about figuring out exactly when your tryout date is going on social media and following your school's social media accounts, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, if they have a Facebook. I'm talking all these social media accounts, because what I found was at Ohio State, the social media accounts both posted when they were going to have the tryout date about a week before the tryout actually came. So I do want to mention that almost all colleges that I've heard of so far in the walk-on process have their tryouts the very first week of each semester, and not including the summer semester. So that means the very first week that classes start in your fall semester and when you're enrolled in school, that's going to be at some point in that first week, there's going to be one walk-on tryout. And then during the winter semester, when you come back from winter break, that very first week of classes, there's usually one more tryout. So if all of this fails and you guys still can't figure out where to go, who to talk to, or how to figure out when a tryout is, the last thing I would recommend is DMing some of the football players, maybe other walk-ons that you found on Instagram or on Twitter, or adding them on Facebook or LinkedIn and trying to message them. Because if you find somebody else who's walked on, first of all, you can get their firsthand experience at that school, when the tryout was and how they did it, or who they were in contact with. And second of all, it's just good to network with these people anyway and get an idea of what the process looked like for them. So I highly recommend trying to reach out to people who you know are walk-ons on the team. I would not reach out to the star players or the people on scholarship, because that's not going to help you at all, and they're probably not going to reply. So that would be my last piece of advice, is make sure you guys talk to them if you can't figure out anything else. And if you really are desperate and you can't figure out anything else, go sit around the athletic facility and wait for somebody to come out and just ask them when the tryout is and say, do you know, or could you go around and ask some people inside there and maybe email me if you figure it out. Thank you so much. So that's the last piece of advice I would give you guys. Once you guys figure out when a concrete tryout date is, you guys are basically going to be set and ready to go. All right, guys, so I hope that video helped. I will see you in the next video. Peace.